The day Earth changed forever started like any other Tuesday. People went about their usual business, driving to work, buying coffee, and checking their phones. No one expected the morning sky to turn into a scene from their worst nightmares. It began with a strange darkness sweeping across major cities worldwide. At first, people thought it was an unusual eclipse. Then they looked up and saw them, massive ships blocking out the sun. Each vessel was larger than the biggest aircraft carrier ever built, their dark metal surfaces reflecting sunlight in eerie patterns across the ground below. News channels worldwide interrupted their regular programs. Social media exploded with photos and videos of the ships. Some people ran in panic, while others stood frozen, phones pointed skyward. Military bases across the globe went into high alert, but no one fired a shot. They all waited, watching these silent visitors with a mixture of fear and awe. The first message came exactly 3 hours after the ships appeared. Every screen on Earth, phones, computers, televisions, even digital billboards, suddenly showed the same image. A tall figure stood in what looked like a command center. Its skin was pale gray, and its eyes were too large for what otherwise might have passed for a human face. When it spoke, its words were somehow perfectly translated into every language on Earth. "People of Earth," the figure said, its voice deep and emotionless. "I am Grand Marshal of the Stellar Empire. We have conquered 1,000 worlds across 3 galaxies. Your planet is now under our control. Surrender your governments and military forces immediately, or face extinction. You have 6 hours to comply." The message ended as suddenly as it had begun, leaving billions of people in stunned silence. But humanity's response wasn't what the aliens expected. Instead of mass panic or immediate surrender, something else happened. In New York, a hot dog vendor looked up at the ships and muttered, "They picked the wrong planet." In Lagos, a school teacher gathered her students and said, "Remember your history lessons about colonialism. We didn't accept it then. We won't accept it now." In Moscow, an old woman shook her fist at the sky and declared, "We survived worse than you." Military leaders from different countries, usually suspicious of each other, began sharing information through secure channels. Scientists worldwide started analyzing every second of the alien transmission, looking for clues about their technology. Regular people organized themselves through social media, sharing plans and gathering supplies. What the aliens didn't understand was that humans had been preparing for this moment for over a century. Through books, movies, and games, people had imagined and reimagined alien invasions countless times. Every possible scenario had been explored in fiction, and many of these stories had inspired real military strategies and scientific innovations. The 6-hour deadline approached. In an emergency United Nations session, Earth's response was crafted. It was simple, clear, and uniquely human. When the Grand Marshal's image appeared again on screens worldwide, expecting to hear terms of surrender, he instead received a short message. "Dear Grand Marshal, thank you for your interest in conquering Earth. Unfortunately, we must decline your offer of surrender. We suggest you review your history of conquered worlds, as you'll need to update it soon. Earth will not be added to your list. We have survived ice ages, plagues, and our own worst tendencies. Your invasion force, impressive as it may be, is just another challenge we'll overcome. If you choose to proceed, remember, you started this fight, but we'll finish it." The message was signed simply, Humanity. In his command ship, the Grand Marshal received this response with amused disbelief. In his 1,000 years of conquering planets, no species had ever dared to respond with such defiance. He thought this would be an easy victory, a simple addition to the Empire's territory. He was about to learn how wrong he was. Because what the Grand Marshal didn't know, what none of his intelligence reports had shown him, was that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or technology. It was in its stubborn refusal to submit, its incredible adaptability, and its long history of overcoming seemingly impossible odds. The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The aliens' first attack came at dawn. Their ships released thousands of smaller fighters that streaked across the sky like falling stars. Their target was simple: destroy Earth's major military bases in one swift strike. But they weren't ready for Jack Anderson. Jack wasn't a general or a famous commander. He was just a young military analyst who spent too much time playing chess and studying old war strategies. While everyone else watched the alien ships with fear, he watched them with curiosity. And he noticed something odd. They're attacking in perfect patterns, he told his commanding officer at the Pentagon. Look at their formation. It's too organized, too predictable. They fight like machines. The aliens' weapons were incredibly advanced. Their energy beams could cut through steel like butter, and their shields seemed impenetrable. But as Jack watched their attack movements, he saw they always followed the same rules, like a computer program that couldn't think outside its code. While military bases around the world took heavy damage, something unexpected happened. The smaller bases, the ones the aliens thought weren't important enough to attack first, began fighting back in ways the invaders hadn't planned for. In a desert base in Arizona, soldiers used old-fashioned radio equipment that the aliens' high-tech jamming couldn't block. In a hidden mountain facility in Switzerland, anti-aircraft guns that should have been obsolete somehow managed to down several alien fighters. The invaders' perfect formations started breaking apart as they faced weapons and tactics they hadn't expected. Jack's observation spread quickly through military channels. "Don't fight them like they fight us," became the message. "Fight them like we fought each other for thousands of years, unpredictably." The aliens had expected to destroy Earth's military might in hours. Instead, as the first day of battle continued, they found themselves facing an enemy that refused to follow their rules of warfare. When they attacked a military base in India, they found it empty. The soldiers had scattered into the countryside, taking their weapons with them. When they tried to destroy a naval fleet in the Pacific, they found inflatable decoys while the real ships attacked from unexpected directions. The Grand Marshal watched from his command ship with growing frustration. His perfect battle plan was falling apart. Reports came in of fighters lost not to advanced weapons, but to simple traps and tactics that his pilot's training never covered. His forces had the technology to win any direct fight, but the humans weren't fighting directly. By sunset, the aliens had destroyed many major military installations, but at a cost they hadn't expected. More importantly, they had failed to break humanity's ability to fight back. Instead, they had forced humans to adapt, to think creatively, and to use every trick they had learned from centuries of fighting their own wars. In the Pentagon's basement, Jack Anderson kept watching the alien attack patterns. He noticed they never attacked at night, never struck during storms, and always pulled back to regroup in the same way. Each observation was another piece of the puzzle, another weakness to exploit. They think they're superior because their technology is better, Jack told his colleagues as they planned their next moves. But they don't understand something important about humans. We don't need the best weapons to win. We just need to be clever about using what we have. As night fell on the first day of the invasion, the aliens believed they had won an important victory. They didn't realize they had actually made a serious mistake. Instead of crushing humanity's spirit, they had awakened its creativity. Instead of facing a defeated enemy, they were about to face billions of humans who now knew they could fight back. And somewhere in their massive fleet, a small programming error began to spread through their systems, a virus created by a teenager in her basement, using techniques the aliens' advanced cybersecurity had never encountered before. The real battle was just beginning. Tom Wilson used to teach history at a small college. Now, he was teaching something far more important: how to fight aliens using lessons from the past. His classroom was a hidden bunker, and his students were resistance fighters from all walks of life. Throughout history, Tom explained to the group gathered around a makeshift table, smaller forces have defeated larger, better-equipped armies by using the environment and surprise to their advantage. He pointed to a map showing alien patrol routes. And that's exactly what we're going to do. The aliens had established their first ground bases, huge structures that looked like silver mountains rising from the earth. They sent out regular patrols in their advanced vehicles, expecting to find scared humans hiding in the ruins. Instead, they found empty streets and buildings. The humans weren't hiding. They were hunting. In New York, resistance fighters used the subway tunnels to move unseen. The aliens' advanced sensors couldn't penetrate the complex maze of underground passages. In Tokyo, people transformed office buildings into trap-filled mazes. In Rio de Janeiro, the narrow alleys of hillside neighborhoods became deadly channels where alien patrols disappeared without a trace. Tom's group specialized in what he called historical warfare. They used tactics from every era of human conflict. One day they'd fight like American revolutionaries, setting up ambushes with modern weapons. The next day, they'd use medieval castle defense strategies to protect their hideouts. The aliens never knew what to expect. Their weakness is their pride, Tom told his fighters. They think because they can travel between stars, they know everything about warfare. But they've forgotten something important. Sometimes the old ways work best. The resistance fighters learned to jam alien communications using simple radio interference. They discovered that the aliens' energy shields couldn't stop certain types of old-fashioned projectile weapons. Most importantly, they learned that the invaders had no experience fighting an enemy that refused to follow the rules of modern warfare. One of the greatest victories came when they targeted an alien supply line. The aliens expected attacks from the air, or with advanced weapons. Instead, the resistance used mud. Simple, ordinary mud, spread across the road on a rainy day. The alien vehicles, designed for space travel and high-speed combat, couldn't handle the slippery earth. The entire convoy was disabled without a single shot fired. The aliens responded by increasing their patrols and using more advanced scanning equipment. But the humans adapted again. They started using paper maps instead of digital ones. They communicated using children's toy walkie-talkies that were too simple to be detected by alien surveillance. They even trained pigeons to carry messages, bringing back an ancient form of communication that the aliens never thought to monitor. In his command ship, the Grand Marshal received increasingly frustrated reports from his ground commanders. Their patrols found primitive traps made of sharpened sticks that somehow penetrated their armor. Their sensors were fooled by simple mirrors and heat lamps. Their troops were ambushed by fighters who seemed to appear from nowhere and disappear just as quickly. These humans, one commander reported, they don't fight like any species we've encountered. They fight like they've been preparing for this their entire history. The commander didn't know how right he was. Humans have been fighting each other for thousands of years, developing countless ways to overcome stronger opponents. Now all that knowledge, all those hard-learned lessons, were being used against an enemy that never expected to face such resourceful opponents. As Tom Wilson told his fighters, the aliens may have the stars, but we have something better. We have the whole of human history on our side. And history teaches us that the bigger they are, the harder they fall. The resistance was growing stronger every day, and the aliens were about to learn another harsh lesson about underestimating humanity. Dr. Maria Roberts stared at her weather radar with growing excitement. As a meteorologist, she had spent years studying Earth's most extreme weather patterns. Now those studies were becoming humanity's newest weapon against the alien invaders. It started when she noticed something strange about the alien ships during a thunderstorm. Their powerful shields flickered every time lightning struck nearby. At first, she thought it was just a coincidence. Then she remembered something important. The aliens came from a planet with very stable weather. They've never had to deal with anything like Earth's weather, she explained to a room full of scientists and military leaders. Their technology isn't designed for our planet's natural extremes. The discovery led to Project Storm Hunter, a plan so simple it seemed crazy. Instead of trying to fight the aliens with weapons, they would use Earth's weather against them. Maria and her team began tracking weather patterns and coordinating resistance attacks to take advantage of natural conditions. In the Midwest, they waited for tornado season. The alien ships, designed for the calm of space, couldn't handle the powerful wind currents. Several fighters were torn apart by forces their engineers had never thought to protect against. In Florida, hurricane winds exposed another weakness. Their landing craft couldn't stay stable in strong atmospheric turbulence. But the real breakthrough came from studying how their technology reacted to different weather conditions. Their sensors failed in heavy snow. Their ground vehicles got stuck in monsoon mud. Even simple fog confused their targeting systems. Earth's weather wasn't just an obstacle for them. It was their worst nightmare. Every planet they've conquered before had predictable weather, Maria told her team. But Earth, we have deserts where temperatures go from boiling hot to freezing cold in one day. We have places where it rains for months straight. We have storms that can flatten cities. This is our advantage. The aliens tried to adapt, but Earth's weather was too varied and too extreme. In the Sahara, their equipment failed in sandstorms. In Siberia, their metals became brittle in the intense cold. In the Amazon, constant humidity short-circuited their sensitive electronics. The resistance fighters learned to time their attacks with weather events. They struck during blizzards when alien sensors were blind. They used thunderstorms as cover for raids. They even learned to predict where alien ships would crash during extreme weather, setting up ambushes to capture their technology. One of their biggest victories came during a massive hurricane. While the aliens struggled to keep their base operational in the storm, resistance fighters approached underwater, using the churning seas as cover. By the time the aliens realized they were under attack, it was too late. The entire base was captured, and with it, vital information about their weaknesses. In his command ship, the Grand Marshal received a report that made him question everything about the invasion. "Sir," his science officer reported, "these humans, they don't just survive in these conditions. They've learned to use them as weapons. They've turned their entire planet against us." Maria's team kept working, developing new ways to use weather to their advantage. They created maps showing where and when different weather patterns would be most effective against alien technology. They taught resistance fighters how to predict weather changes and use them tactically. They even found ways to seed clouds and influence local weather patterns to create conditions that would disadvantage the aliens. "The aliens thought they could just come here and take over," Maria said as she watched another alien ship struggle against a powerful storm. "But they forgot something important. This is our planet. We've spent thousands of years learning to live with its extremes. They've had less than a month." Earth's weather had become humanity's strongest ally, and the aliens were learning a harsh lesson about invading a planet they didn't understand. Dr. Alan Cooper wasn't a soldier or a strategist. He was just a microbiologist who spent his days looking at germs through microscopes. But when he noticed alien soldiers getting sick, he realized he might have found humanity's most powerful weapon, Earth's microscopic life. It started with what looked like alien allergies. Invaders were sneezing inside their helmets. Their skin developed strange rashes when they touched Earth's soil. Some became so sick they couldn't leave their ships. At first, the aliens thought humans were using biological weapons against them. The truth was far simpler. Earth's ordinary germs were doing all the work. "They have no immunity to our bacteria and viruses," Alan explained to military leaders. "Their bodies have never encountered anything like Earth's microorganisms. Even our harmless bacteria are dangerous to them." The aliens had made a critical mistake. They had studied Earth's weapons, technology, and military capabilities, but they had forgotten about the smallest inhabitants of our planet, the billions of microscopic organisms that humans had evolved alongside for millions of years. When the aliens tried to use their own biological weapons against Earth, they got another surprise. Human immune systems, strengthened by thousands of years of fighting diseases, proved remarkably resistant. What would have killed other species across the galaxy barely gave humans a cold. "We're basically walking tanks when it comes to fighting germs," Alan told his research team. "Our bodies have been at war with microscopic enemies since we first evolved. The aliens don't stand a chance against our immune systems. The discovery changed how the resistance fought. They started using simple tactics that seemed strange, but worked perfectly. They spread ordinary soil near alien bases, knowing the bacteria would make the invaders sick. They released harmless Earth spores that crashed alien air filters. Some fighters even stopped cleaning their weapons, letting Earth's natural bacteria grow on them. One of the biggest breakthroughs came when they found out about alien food supplies. The invaders couldn't eat Earth food. It made them violently ill. They depended on sterilized supplies from their ships. When resistance fighters contaminated their food storage with ordinary Earth mold, entire alien bases had to be abandoned. The aliens tried to adapt. They wore sealed suits and used stronger air filters. But Earth's microscopic life was everywhere, impossible to completely avoid. Every time they touched something, every time they breathed unfiltered air, they exposed themselves to millions of years of biological evolution their bodies weren't prepared for. In his command ship, the Grand Marshal faced a crisis he'd never encountered before. His medical officers were overwhelmed. More soldiers were getting sick each day, and their advanced medicines weren't working. How, he demanded, can these primitives be so resistant to disease? The answer, of course, was the humans weren't primitive at all. They were the product of an endless arms race with Earth's microorganisms, their bodies refined by millions of years of fighting off infections. What looked like primitive biology to the aliens was actually an incredibly sophisticated defense system. Alan's team kept working, studying how different Earth bacteria affected the aliens. They found that even friendly bacteria that helped humans could make the invaders sick. They discovered that simple things like pollen and dust mites could disable alien equipment. Earth's entire biosphere had become a weapon. The aliens thought they could just walk in and take over, Alan said while examining alien blood samples. But they didn't realize that on Earth, even the smallest life forms are part of our planet's defense system. We're not just fighting them with guns and bombs. We're fighting them with billions of microscopic allies that have been here long before we were. Nature itself had become humanity's defender, and the aliens were learning that invading Earth meant fighting every form of life on the planet, from the largest to the smallest. The time had come for humanity to take back their planet. After weeks of learning the aliens' weaknesses, Earth's defenders were ready to launch their biggest attack yet. They called it Operation Earthstrike, and it would use every advantage they had discovered. In a hidden command center, Jack Anderson worked with Tom Wilson, Dr. Maria Roberts, and Dr. Alan Cooper to coordinate the global counterattack. Each brought their own piece of the puzzle: military strategy, guerrilla tactics, weather knowledge, and biological warfare. The aliens expect us to fight like they do, Jack explained to resistance leaders worldwide. Instead, we're going to hit them with everything at once. Not just our weapons, but everything Earth has taught us about survival. The plan was simple but clever. They would attack during the planet's most extreme weather conditions, when the aliens were most vulnerable. Resistance fighters worldwide waited for the signal, hidden in underground bases, subway tunnels, and mountain caves. The counterattack began during a massive storm system that covered half the planet. In North America, fighters struck during tornado warnings. In Asia, they attacked during monsoon rains. In Europe, they moved under the cover of fierce thunderstorms. The alien sensors, already struggling with the weather, couldn't track the coordinated assault. Tom's resistance groups used their knowledge of historical warfare in new ways. They set traps like ancient armies but filled them with stolen alien technology. They used old war strategies but added modern twists. Some groups even rode horses into battle, knowing the animals could move better in bad weather than alien vehicles. Maria's weather predictions proved perfect. Alien ships crashed in unexpected wind currents. Their ground forces got stuck in flash floods and mudslides. Lightning strikes knocked out their communication systems. Earth's weather seemed to fight alongside the humans, as if the planet itself was helping to drive out the invaders. Alan's biological warfare worked better than anyone expected. The aliens, already weakened by Earth's bacteria, couldn't handle fighting while sick. Their sealed suits, designed to protect them, became hot and uncomfortable in battle. Some alien units had to retreat because too many soldiers were ill. The teenagers' computer virus, which had been spreading through alien systems for weeks, finally activated. Alien weapons stopped working. Their ships lost power. Their advanced technology, which they had depended on so heavily, began to fail them at the worst possible moment. In his command ship, the Grand Marshal watched in disbelief as reports of defeats came in from around the planet. His forces were being beaten not by superior technology, but by humans using the most basic aspects of their world as weapons. They're not just fighting us, he realized too late. They turned their entire planet into a weapon. The weather, the germs, the terrain, everything on Earth is fighting against us. The counterattack continued for 3 days. Resistance fighters struck alien bases worldwide, using everything they had learned. They attacked during storms, used the environment against the invaders, and let Earth's natural defenses do much of the work. One by one, alien bases fell. Their mighty ships retreated from Earth's atmosphere, unable to handle the combined assault of human ingenuity and natural forces. The invaders who had conquered 1,000 worlds found themselves being driven off by what they had thought was a primitive planet. "This is why we won," Jack told his team as they watched another alien ship flee into space. "Not because we're stronger or more advanced, but because we understand something they don't. Real strength isn't just about having the best weapons. It's about knowing how to use everything around you, even the things that seem simple or ordinary." The aliens were retreating, and humanity had learned an important lesson about their own strength. They didn't need advanced alien technology to defend their planet. They just needed to use what Earth had already given them. 1 month after Operation Earthstrike began, the last alien ship disappeared from Earth's skies. The invasion that was supposed to add another conquest to the Stellar Empire's list had instead become their first major defeat. But the real story wasn't just about winning. It was about how the victory changed both humanity and their would-be conquerors. In the remains of the Grand Marshal's command base, Earth's scientists found something interesting. The aliens' complete records of their previous conquests. Every planet they had taken over had surrendered quickly, unable to fight back against superior technology. Earth was different. It wasn't just that humans had refused to give up. It was that they had turned everything about their primitive planet into an advantage. "We didn't just defend Earth," Jack Anderson explained at a United Nations meeting. "We showed the galaxy that having the most advanced technology doesn't guarantee victory. Sometimes the best weapons are the simple things you already have." The abandoned alien bases became learning centers where humans studied the invaders' technology. But they didn't just copy it. They improved it. They made it work better in Earth's conditions, adapted it to handle weather extremes, and protected it against the planet's natural bacteria. Tom Wilson went back to teaching history, but now his classes were different. "The invasion taught us something important," he told his students. "Every part of human history, every battle we fought, every survival skill we learned, it all helped us when we needed it most. Our past made us stronger." Dr. Maria Roberts led a new global weather monitoring system, combining alien technology with Earth-based weather stations. "The aliens thought our weather was a problem to overcome," she said. "We knew it was one of our greatest strengths. Now we understand our planet's patterns better than ever." Dr. Alan Cooper's research changed how humans viewed their relationship with Earth's microscopic life. "We used to think of bacteria and viruses as enemies," he explained to medical students. "Now we understand they're part of Earth's immune system, and ours too. We're not just living on this planet, we're part of its defense system." The teenage computer expert who created the virus that helped defeat the aliens became the head of a new global cybersecurity program. "The aliens thought their computers were unbeatable," she said. "But they forgot that sometimes the simplest codes work better than the most complicated ones." The invasion changed how humanity saw itself. Countries that used to fight each other now worked together, sharing resources and knowledge. People began taking better care of Earth, understanding that the planet itself had helped save them. Schools taught children not just about technology, but about nature, weather, and the importance of understanding their world. In space, the story of Earth's victory spread through the galaxy. The planet that had seemed like an easy target became known as the world that broke an empire. Other alien species, hearing about Earth's defense, decided it was better to send peaceful diplomats than invasion forces. The Grand Marshal, facing punishment for his failure, sent one final message to Earth. We thought we were superior because we had conquered 1,000 worlds. But you taught us that true strength isn't about having the best weapons or the most advanced technology. It's about understanding and working with your world, not against it. You didn't just defend your planet. You showed us a better way to live in the universe. As humanity looked to the stars, they didn't just dream about exploring space anymore. They knew they were ready for it. Earth had proved itself to be one of the toughest planets in the galaxy, and its people had shown that they could handle anything the universe threw at them. "Let them come" became a common saying on Earth. "We'll be ready." But the truth was, no one was in a hurry to attack Earth again. The planet had earned its reputation. It was the world that fought back, the planet that turned its very nature into a weapon, and the home of a species that simply refused to be conquered.